We have some more chances for some more severe weather over the next few days, with a chance for some tornadoes, damaging winds, and some hail. So I'm going to be talking about what you need to know about these severe weather potentials. So let's get right into the video. It is Thursday, May 21st, 2026, and we have two areas to be watching for severe weather today. One is out here in parts of the plains where we have a potential for some scattered severe weather. Then another one is out here in parts of the mid-Atlantic where we have potential for some isolated severe weather today. We cannot rule out a isolated brief tornado or two if you're out here, and a 2% tornado risk in eastern Colorado, western Kansas, northeastern New Mexico, northwestern Texas Panhandle, and parts of the Oklahoma Panhandle. We cannot rule out a brief and a weak tornado out there. But we also do have potential for some damaging winds today in some of these areas. As you can see here, 5% wind risk from western Texas up into western Nebraska. There's also another 5% wind risk out here in parts of the mid-Atlantic. Cannot rule out some damaging winds today, so definitely make sure you're strapping down unsecured objects so they don't fly away. But we also can't rule out a chance for some pretty large hail potentially. I do think maybe a few of these storms out here in eastern Colorado and parts of western Kansas areas might produce some pretty large hail, so something to be watching. And then for tomorrow on Friday, we'll have another severe weather threat setting up out here in parts of the southern plains, and then one out here in the Ohio Valley. There's going to be a lot of rain that's going to be moving into the Ohio Valley, causing a flood threat, but also might bring a little bit of severe weather out there in parts of Kentucky and southern Indiana. The main concerns for tomorrow will be some damaging winds and hail, but we can't rule out an isolated tornado out here in parts of Kentucky tomorrow and parts of the Ohio Valley, so that's something to be watching. But damaging winds is also going to be a concern out there. But out here in parts of the southern plains, we're looking at a chance for some damaging winds and some hail. The best chance for some hail tomorrow will be out here in parts of western Oklahoma and parts of the Texas Panhandle, as there's a 15% hail risk. For Saturday, we don't have any severe weather risks, but we do have a chance for some, just some general thunderstorms out here in parts of the Ohio Valley, southern plains, and parts of the southern United States. So nothing too crazy on Saturday, but I wouldn't rule out maybe a marginal risk being issued because that happens quite a lot with general risks, especially in spring. Checking out the future radar for today, we don't rule out some of these storms in eastern Oklahoma, maybe producing a few gusty winds. But then you can see we're going to have some storms develop out here in eastern Colorado, mainly around 5 p.m. Eastern. You can see the storms will continue to strengthen as we get into 6 into 7 p.m. and producing some damaging winds, hail, and maybe even a brief tornado out there. So that's kind of what the future radar can could look like out there. So you can see we're going to have some of the storms form out there. So definitely be aware if you're out here in eastern Colorado and kind of these areas for maybe an isolated brief spin-up tornado, as well as some chances for some damaging winds and hail. So definitely got to be watching some of these storms very closely out here. So yeah. Sigtor, you can see this is significant tornado parameter. We don't have that big of any levels of Sigtor out there, but you can see that we do got some out there. It kind of just shows where some of the chances for some large hail and damaging winds and some tornadoes could be. But yeah, you can see we're getting up to 2. Checking out KATE, this stands for Convective Available Potential Energy. This is basically just storm fuel. You can see that we're gonna have some storm fuel out there. It's not gonna be crazy amounts, but this is just basically a storm fuel, and we're gonna have some storm fuel out there for those storms. So that's why we're having that severe weather chance out there. So if you know you're not here, also make sure to share the video to get the word out. Out here in the mid-Atlantic, you can see we're going to have this storm system move through, and you can see this could also cause some severe weather out there in the mid-Atlantic, so also be aware for that. Storms should start developing around 3 p.m. and kind of just they'll probably just strengthen, and then you can see those will push through, producing a chance for mainly damaging winds. I wouldn't rule out maybe some very small hail though out there. And then you can see out here for the Texas Panhandle and kind of the southern plains for tomorrow, you can see we're gonna have some storms develop out there, mainly producing a chance for some damaging winds and hail. Maybe an isolated brief spin-up tornado out there in Texas Panhandle. We'll see if they add any tornado risk, but right now they don't. The Storm Prediction Center doesn't have any tornado risk, but I guess we'll see if they add it. So that's kind of what the storms could look like tomorrow on Friday out there. They could produce mainly a chance for some damaging winds and hail. You can see out here in the Ohio Valley, you can see we're going to have a storm system move through. This is kind of going to bring a lot of rain to these areas, leading to some flooding, so definitely be aware for some flooding out there in the Ohio Valley for tomorrow on Friday. You can see that we're going to have some storms push through, and these storms could produce some damaging winds, mainly a chance for some damaging winds, and maybe even a brief spin-up tornado out here in parts of the Ohio Valley. So if you're out there in parts of the Ohio Valley, mainly in the Kentucky areas, definitely be aware for some severe weather tomorrow on Friday. You can see the time is kind of towards the bottom of your screen right here. So it's what could look like at 3 p.m. Eastern tomorrow, 4 p.m., 5 p.m., 6 p.m. Eastern. This will lead to a pretty big flooding throughout here. So if you're out here in a low-lying area, also be aware of some flooding and everything like that. And definitely be sure you're having a way to get alerts out here. And if you know anyone in the Ohio Valley tomorrow, make sure to let them know that they could be dealing with some severe weather and flooding tomorrow. You can see here we do got some storm fuel tomorrow out in some of these areas, and you can see mainly out there in parts of the Southern Plains is where we got most of that storm fuel, but we also got some of that storm fuel making its way up into the Ohio Valley. Now, what's going to be causing this severe weather is a trough that's going to come out from the Rockies into some of these areas. So the trough that could be causing some of the severe weather today that will move into parts of the plains and the Rockies. And then you can see that's a kind of a trough right here too that's going to pop up out there and move up into the Ohio Valley. So definitely make sure you're staying weather aware. Stay tuned as there is a very, very small potential that I will be live. And then you can see here, this is kind of what we're looking at with the excessive rainfall potentials. You can see out here in parts of the plains, we're dealing with a potential for some flooding today, so definitely be aware out there. Mid-Atlantic, we're also watching for potential flooding today, so yeah, I don't think it's going to be that big of a concern out there in the Mid-Atlantic. Just a lot of rain might lead to some flooding. And then for tomorrow out here in parts of the Ohio Valley, we also have chances for some excessive rainfall leading to potential flooding, especially in those low-lying areas. Tomorrow and Friday. Then as we get into Saturday, the flood threat will shift down here into parts of eastern Texas, mainly in parts of western Louisiana and southwestern Arkansas. Then there will be another one out here in parts of the southeast. And that flood threat should continue kind of in the same areas as we get into Sunday and Monday. We're checking out the temperature anomaly. You can see that we got some cooler air that's trying to move into some of these areas out here. But watch what happens if I push up the temperature anomaly here. You can see that we're going to have some warmer air that's going to come into this area. And we're going to see a pretty big warm up out here in a big chunk of the United States, as you can see right here. So definitely get ready for that warmth. And it's going to be leading to some pretty beautiful weather out there. You can see a pretty nice day for a big chunk of the United States today, so make sure to get outdoors. It's going to be very nice out there. That nice weather should continue over the next few days within some of these highlighted areas. And that's pretty much all I got for you in today's video. Make sure to like and subscribe. Stay weather aware. Share this video to get the word out, and I will see you in the next weather update video. Have a wonderful day. Bye.